Good morning. I am on my morning walk up my beloved Mount Rubidoux in Riverside, California. It's a little after 7. And I'm listening to I'm going to start walking again. I'm listening to a Rich Roll podcast on the mind, and the power it has and the power we have with it to either produce or defeat our plans and our futures, and how we can utilize certain skills to, I don't want to use the word control, but I'll say override negative circuits. And he's talking to a man, Steven Pressfield, who has written 20 books, began his first book at 55, and how we have a way, and his books are many and deep, and I'm going to look into him starting with podcasts and then getting his books. That's kind of the way I do it, because then I get the gist without having to read a few hundred pages first. And he's talking about something that we all do. It's part of human nature, and it's called resistance. That when we have an idea to supersede where we are, whether it's physically, whether it's educationally, whether it's spiritually, to advance ourselves physically, there's going to be a voice that comes in. And our mistake is when we identify it as legitimate and believable and real. But that voice is going to tell us that we can't. We're too old, we're too young, too fat, we're too skinny, we're too poor, we're too rich, we can't. And what we do with that voice, in order to get through it, is to ignore it. Ignore it, and as Dr. Andrew Huberman says, it's very hard to change the mind, but what we can do is think new thoughts, go back to our determination, and simply say, why not? And then first thing we do is put our plans into action. I remember it's been 6 months now when I thought of writing a book, and I was told by someone I love, you can't write. I did it anyway. It was published in less than 6 months, and having published it and putting my words out has changed my life and changed my direction. That was just before turning 70. And now that I'm 70, my mission, because of that book, as stated in that book, is to help others understand that at any age, in every way, through lifestyle choices, we can be as healthy as we choose to be. This isn't an age factor, and this isn't, in spite of what we see in our society, this isn't something that we have to follow, falling apart in our 20s and 30s and 40s and 50s with the diseases they show on the commercials of TV. It just makes me crazy they do that. They used to sell breakfast cereal. Now they sell medications and make them look popular. So my newest challenge is that I'm going to run 10K. I've never been able to run a block. As I said to my son, I can't run because my lungs don't seem to hold the capacity for oxygen, and I'm going to say this to you, and it sounds like I'm just being trivial, and my butt's too big. I'm small, but I carry weight in my rear end, my caboose. As an Italian, that's where it goes. And just like a woman who has a huge chest, that thing moves when I run. And I thought, can't do that. It's going to weigh me down. And it's all jiggly. Isn't this way too personal? And I told somebody I was going to run a 10K. Why would I do this at 70? To make a point. Because this is part of my mission. The more points I make, the more I illustrate what is possible when we follow certain health precepts, the more maybe some people will even try, will just quiet their own voices and try. So with this 10K, to do it as a 70-year-old who's never run, totally plant-based, that's supposed to mean we won't have the energy, and do it well, I'm going to have a point to make. I'm going to have more people saying, oh, if she can do it, maybe I can do it. And so that's my goal. And the race is on October 23rd. I was going to say root for me, but I'm doing that for myself. But you'll know. You'll know when I've done it. You'll know how I did. And it's going to happen. And I've got to tell you, the day after I made that decision, which was last weekend, I tried to run a mile. No way. Now, I exercise every morning. I go up Mount Rubidoux every morning, or get on my bike and pedal fast up hills, etc. I'm not a racer, but I can do that. So I knew I had stamina and I knew I had some strength, but I couldn't run that mile. The next day, even though I didn't want to, because as I was running, it started to hurt and I was out of breath and I didn't know how to control my breathing. And my what's that thing in the back of your thigh, you know, above your calf? Hamstring was getting tight and it hurt. I ran a mile, and now it's been 4 times. I'm running a mile. Yesterday I ran a mile and a quarter. I probably look like an old sloggy lady, you know, go boom, go boom, go boom. But that's coming. That's going to come, and I'm going to look and feel aerodynamic as I learn. Somebody who's a runner, and that's the other thing. When the student is ready, the teacher will appear. I have friends that I didn't even know ran. I spent the weekend with a new friend, and she's a runner, and she mentioned not an app, and what would you call that? .com, a website. Gosh, Nan. Called Couch to 5K and Couch to 10K, and I'm using that for training. And there are a lot of articles on starting to run, and I'm paying attention, and I have a plan, and I'm doing this with purpose. I thought I'd share all this with you because to do that, I must do it. I'm not going to fold, and I won't. But this podcast was all about resisting, and I'm sharing this with you now, was all about resisting the urge to tell ourselves that we can't do a thing and doing it anyway. It begins with action, then thought follows, and then feelings follow. And that feeling becomes pride and determination and vision. Anyway, I'm wearing my Rain Cross gaiter that I slit the back of because I want to cover my chest and my neck. That much sun on both of those, and yes, I'll blame age on that too, causes all kinds of crepiness, which is happening at 70. Who cares? Obviously I do, huh? Okay, I'm gonna say goodbye. Thank you for listening. I hope this helped you get past some resistance you may have in some area of your life, even if it's going 1 meal a day plant-based. Because you know what I attribute this to? Oh my goodness, I'm running. I didn't mean to. Because Couch to 10K says run every other day, but I'm going downhill. That's almost like rolling. But even if it's just to eating 1 meal a day that is plant-based, it will make a difference to you. As I started to say, I attribute this to 3 years of whole foods that are plant-based. That means not processed foods, real food, as close to nature as possible. And there's so much in there: phytonutrients, phytochemicals, the feeding of the microbiome. With the only thing that feeds the microbiome is whole foods that are plant-based. Fiber. There's no fiber in any animal food. So I said goodbye, and now I'll say goodbye again. Have a great day, because I know I'm going to. Bye.